Homestead, Nina Cannon, doing our interview.
Right.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. First things first. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm tired. It was a day. It was a very long day.
We're supposed to be caught up with all our sleep now with the fall back.
Oh
Got
yeah.
an extra hour.
Yeah, no, I'm not sleepy. It just was a long day.
Mm-hmm.
Would you share with me your journey on becoming a principal here?
So, let me think. I was in the classroom over at North Country. Fourth grade, I was sharing a contract. And my last year sharing with Laura, I had just said to myself, I'm ready to move on. Like, I've been teaching 20 years. I'm ready to, I'm ready. My kids are grown. They're moving on. They're in high school. They don't need me anymore. And I thought, I need to do something different. I need to be out of the classroom. So I started going to, I already have my master's. Since that was the suggestion of administration over there at the time was, oh, go get your master's. And I said, I already have it, right? She didn't know that. So I said, okay, well, I'm try out admin, I think. So I kind of searched around, and it was my last year sharing with Laura, so I had the ability to kind of get in and do some work that other people weren't able to do because I was part-time. Just started that program, finished that, and then I needed a change. And I knew I needed a change, I just didn't know what it was. So I had heard rumblings that Chris Schmieder, who's the principal here, was retiring. And Julie Opfer was the Title I person, and she was the next natural person to come into the principalship. So I just kind of waited for that to happen. I actually interviewed for the principal here back then. But of course she had been here, she had done it. And administration over there said, oh, you should, just for the experience, just try it out. It's funny because Julie came back later and said, only interview for a job you want. So I'm like, it's interesting, the different advice you get.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, do it for the practice. And she was like, if you don't want the job, don't interview for it.
Right.
So it was interesting.
Because what if they offer it to you?
And right. And you're like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. Still kind of wonder about that, but And then, so Julie got the principalship. So I applied for her job and got it. So I came over here as the Title I person, just organizing the Title I program. And that was 5 years I did that. And then she announced her retirement, and I knew for probably a good 3-4 months before anybody else did, because she kind of gave me the heads up, so I could start preparing. And Becky Lawson from the district would come over every Friday and practice with me and walk me through things. And I'm like, I don't know, this is hard. Do I want to do it? And so there's still days, where I go, is it really what I want? I don't know. Today was a good day. Lori had gotten me out a couple times to read to kids and do some things. That was fun. But yeah, kind of the same as teaching. I kind of fell into that too. Just next inevitable step, I guess.
Right. Well, you're a great principal. I like being under you.
Thanks.
Special education teachers bring their own personalities and beliefs to the classroom. In your perspective, what are the major qualities desired for special education teachers and other professionals working in the field of special education that help differ from those working in general education?
I think special education understands a lot more about accommodations and modifications. They understand a lot more about universal design for learning. They understand, kids aren't all built the same. And I think particularly veteran teachers get kind of stuck in this is how kids should be, this is how we should do it, this is, I've done this for 30 years, it should still work. And I don't think they're there. I feel like special education teachers understand a little more of the variability of children. And I'm not sure why that is. I'm really not sure why that is.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Now I'm gonna have to think about
I
that.
know. Like, you know, your program is similar. It's not the same. You know, is it the kids you work with that you understand that everybody's not in one little package?
Right. Well, especially being in the classroom, we definitely I can always see the difference between all of my kids, even if they're very similar. I can really spot like that, just that little tweak of things, you know.
Right.
And I don't know. I guess I'm just sensitive to them, like, cause I like to play with my kids, or talk to my kids, get to know my kids, and then you know, cause I got to spot when they're sick. I get spot when they just are just cranky, you know, and I'm like, oh, they'll get through it. Or if I'm just like, no, they don't feel good. They just need a break.
Something's up.
Yeah, something's going on with them. And then just having that patience with them, you know, just giving them that time to, because some of them can't verbally tell you, but they will show you. So you just give them a little time to definitely get it across to you.
Yeah, and I do. I think they're just more flexible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We try. I think most of us do. I don't know. I do. I'm like a kind of go with the flow person. What are we doing today?
You can't teach that flexibility. Like, you just need to inherently have that.
Yeah.
That ability to bend and sway.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
With AIDS, because I'm like, guys, look at them. They don't feel good. Just be easy on them.
Give them some grace.
Right.
They try and do that for you when you don't feel good.
Just leave them alone. They'll come around.
Right.
They're always like, oh, Miss Katie, you're too nice to the kids. I'm like, I'm never nice to the kids. No, just yeah. As a principal, you must deal with conflict and issues on a regular basis. What advice can you give to future special education teachers who will also encounter conflict with parents, other professionals, outside agencies? Any advice?
Probably the biggest thing, and I learned it as I became a parent, was you understand so much more when you're a parent than when you're not. And like, my whole homework policy changed when I had kids, because I was dealing with my own kids going, oh my gosh, what am I doing to these parents by sending this much homework? Because now I'm doing it with mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably the other thing was my oldest was diagnosed with autism. So that was like, I understand. You know, he does these wonky things. And it was, you know, understanding that kind of piece of things. But yeah, just the conflict is kind of, I think, probably just putting yourself in their place.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I need to do. This is what the expectation is. And then how difficult it can be. Because they say what the Army is the hardest job you'll ever love. I say it's parenting.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's a hard job.
Right.
We are done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
What about like outside agencies and other professionals? I kind of feel like the same kind of applies to other professionals. What do you think?
It is understanding kind of what their end game is. What is it that you are, what's your goal? What are you trying to obtain from me, or what do you need from me? And understanding their perspective of, yep, this is what the law says, or this is what I need to do. Yeah. I may not always agree with it, because particularly the laws that they pass, it's like every year there's 7 more.
But just knowing they still got to do their job, right? You got to do yours. What strategies have worked for you when dealing with conflicts?
I always fall back on humor. Try and bring the kids around to I'm not a scary person who's going to yell at you. It's, hey, we all make mistakes. This is how you learn. This is how we're going to grow. I got your back. You just have to try, kind of thing. kids that are used to working their parents over, so they try it. You know, they'll try the, oh, I'm so innocent and don't worry about me, you know. No. So yeah, probably just trying to get them comfortable, understanding that, you know, I'm a person too. I'm not here, you know, to punish you. You know, I'm here to make sure you're learning. And if that, sometimes we make a mistake and I have to have consequences because, hey, there's consequences, that's probably it.
What about with like staff?
Staff's a little tougher just because you're like, you're an adult. Like, you know, kids I'm used to. We're learning, we're growing, you know, you're 7, you're 10, you know. Okay, you're 30. Right. And that is probably another one of those empathizing, you know, hey, I understand how you feel, and so much of it, I think, is misunderstandings or misinterpretations. Someone said something to them, now they're offended, and it's like, okay, but did you say, hey, that kind of hurts, you know, can you phrase it a different way? Or but listening to some of the things that go on, like particularly with your aides or any of the aides down there. I'm doing all the work and they're not doing it, and it's like, you know, we're a team, we're all together, and it's tough.
Yeah.
And I think what we talked about this before, particularly you and Larissa, is you went to school to be a teacher. You learned all these ways to teach curriculum and how kids learn, and this is how we do things. And then they drop all these adults in your room and go, okay, make it happen. And you're like, no one ever showed me. I didn't have a class on that. No one said the 15 aides you have in your room you got to deal with.
Right, and put them in the calm corner? No, that's why.
Right? You can't really do that. Although I have threatened to go take a nap in there, you know. I was to be over there, but it's true. Like, you have never had a class that said this is how we manage people.
Right.
But yeah, you're thrust into it, very much so. The she's doing this and I don't get to. Why am I changing all the diapers? And yeah.
Right. I haven't experienced that though with my aides. I love my team. We all try to. Because I always push that team building. We are a team. We support each other. Everybody is going to do some work and we're going to help each other, right?
That's good, then.
That's what we're going to do.
Right? So,
yeah,
that's perhaps a skill that
it's
maybe you just have.
I don't know.
Inherently.
I see some of my aides kind of slack off stuff and then other aides will take it over. So then I'm like, I need you to step back and I need you to step up. So we can support each other, right?
Right.
If they're like, okay, say, don't worry.
Right.
We're here to help you. Anything you need, we are here to help. All of us.
Well, and too, I think as teachers, we tend to go, oh, gotta go to class. I gotta do this. And you can never have an off day. Particularly like in front of kids, because they'll be like, oh, she's not feeling good. Let's go for the jugular.
Oh, always, right?
Like, oh, she's not paying attention, you know. You're like, I don't feel good today. Could you just take it easy? And
they will not.
They will not, right? Because they have their own stuff going on. So it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, like the aides don't really have the opportunity either. They just feel a little off or had whatever.
Yeah.
They don't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
It's kind of same.
It is. I don't know. We try though. We're doing good though. I think.
Good.
I think we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't hear the rumbling so much.
I wouldn't
from
trade
there, so,
any of them. I would not trade any of them.
That's good.
Yeah, and Miss Sue was talking about trying to leave us, and I was like, I don't want you to leave us. Like, I had to have that conversation with her. She was feeling like she wasn't carrying her weight, and I was like, you're doing fine. Like, you're doing fine. Anything you want to do more.
4 teachers in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
So for her, it's, and then the communication, I think, breaks down with her.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling her. Like, listen, I might ask you to say it a couple times. I'm not being rude, but I just want to make sure that I know what you're saying to me.
Right? Because I don't want to misunderstand you.
Right,
Yeah.
and I want to make sure that we address whatever the issue is and that we can move forward, right? And she was like, okay. And then she was like, I'm going to stay. I'm like, yay! Like,
she'd asked me a couple times.
I didn't want her to feel like that, you know?
Yeah. she had said, oh, you know, other IS, she'd wanted to just drop down to IS.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, you realize you get a pay cut for that too. Oh, I will?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, there's a reason you're paid at a higher level.
Yeah.
So, it's good she wants to stay, though.
Yeah. I think she's feeling comfortable. I try to check in with all of them regularly, you know, so I know where they're at and they know where I'm at.
Right.
And I told them, if I don't get my life together, guys, they're going to...
Don't tell them that.
They're like, Miss Katie, you need to get your life together.
I got enough people around here who go, I'll do your homework.
All right, can you tell me about the professional development opportunities and support provided by the district or school to enhance the skills and knowledge of teachers and staff regarding special education law and to ensure compliance?
Oh, gosh. The professional development, I think, more than anything is our program specialists and then the director who do those monthly special ed meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I attend them. I understand I'm the only administrator that attends them. So I was
Really?
kind of surprised to
With
hear.
Mike?
Yeah. With the whole special ed team.
Yeah. I'm the one that Mike Jordan does once a
Mike,
month.
Tracy, and Jessica,
Mhm.
they're all on there.
Yeah.
I get a plethora of information from that because they're right on top of the new laws that have come out.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what you guys need to be doing in SAFES. This is how we need to write this.
Mhm.
You know, the new toileting stuff was all. So to me, I think they're doing those meetings really is a lot of professional development. You get a lot of information.
Yeah, and then like, who do we do our is it through Seplet that we do our professional development meetings sometimes? I've been to 2 of them, and it was at Twin Rivers.
Okay, so the SELPA, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. And then you were able to go and
Go over there and do
because
the
then they'll
training
do
with
them
them.
as a because we aren't big enough to have the money to do those kinds of things. So
Yeah.
pool your resources, kind of thing.
So we just share, I guess, with Twin Rivers.
Twin Rivers, Natomas.
Yeah.
I want to say
I don't know. It just seemed like a lot of just Twin Rivers that was over there. Us and Twin Rivers.
yeah.
Yeah. It was good. It was
Yeah,
very
yeah.
informational.
Yeah, and then are there things that you have the opportunity to do that you hear about that you haven't been able to do or you wanted
Well, through like Mike Jordan, he always sends us like those trainings that are like, I think there's one that's in Vegas, not too far from now, where it's like teaching on IEPs, writing IEPs and the goals and stuff like that. So we got those opportunities also.
to? So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So that's always nice. I know that they distribute a lot of information.
Yeah.
There's so
Because
much
it's like a
stuff,
whole
yeah.
weekend that you get to go.
Nice.
I was like, oh, yay. And I know in Vegas, no.
Right. Could be interesting.
Right. Let me check it out. Let me see what's going on. All right. As a principal, what is your primary role in the IEP process?
Primary role, I feel like, is trying to keep timekeeper, like keeping everybody. We have a few people who like to talk, and it's like, God, you got 10 minutes to present your report. We need to move on. Most everybody here is pretty good. There's generally only one person that I'm like, okay, let's.
You gotta wrap it up.
Right, because he likes to talk. And then, of course, it's answering any questions, anything, parents, oh, can I do this or that? Just keeping the interest of the student in the school site and what we're able to do in perspective. Because, I get asked those kinds of things a lot.
What recommendations do you have for new special education teachers in preparation for, during, and after IEP meetings?
Well, definitely look everything over. Right. Don't just walk in on the fly and go,
Right.
What's
Know what you're
going
talking
on?
about, right?
Right. Revisit goals. Obviously, you want to do your testing. You want, I think probably when you walk in the door.
It's the profit split.
It's my first check. It's not my first check in my life, but
You want to give it to Lori?
I just wanted to give it to
By the
you.
way, sorry, right over.
Sorry, Nina.
It's okay.
By the way, we're not.
I'm just interviewing.
By the way,
Just messaging.
by the way, we didn't pay for any of this water. That never came out of our. No,
Okay.
no, that was all on her.
Well,
We didn't pay for any of that.
Okay. But they wanted us to pay for pumpkins, which we never did.
No, we never did.
Okay.
No, because then we would have had no profits. Not much.
I know.
We didn't have a lot. Because our attendance was down. We already talked about that.
Okay. PTO issues.
Gotta love it.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else for IEPs? What about dressing professionally? Do you think that impacts the meeting at all? What if I just came like in a t-shirt and raggedy looking?
Well,
You think the
raggedy
parents would
anything,
listen?
Right. I think
I mean, I try to dress professional when I
Everybody
go.
tries to dress
Yeah.
professionally just because, you know, I think there's a way to dress professionally and still be comfortable.
Mhm.
You just have to really work at it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the suit and tie, and that's not going to work. Those kids are going to hang you.
Right.
Right?
You're not gonna be able to move around with your kids, that's for sure.
Exactly. But, you know, looking your best and, you know, maybe stopping off and going, okay, everything's okay, I'm good, you know? Because they do want to see that someone who's looks like they have their act together
Mm-hmm.
would make them feel like their kid is in a good, safe place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Right? You know, the whole, I know it's back east more than it is here, but there's the whole, oh, we have the jeans pass, so you can wear jeans today. Well, I'm sorry, but, you know, K3, TK3, you're on the floor with those kids. You're getting up and down. You're doing all kinds of things. I can't imagine no jeans and I have to wear slacks all the time.
Well, I try not to, just because it's more comfortable to just wear the stretchy material for myself.
Right.
On Fridays, I'll wear jeans.
Right?
But I'm also old now, so I
Jeans. But I just think it's funny, you know, they have, oh, we gave jeans pass to our teachers. I know it's more back east, but it's still like,
But I think
what are you hoping for there?
Yeah, I don't know.
I can see high school, but even high school. And then there, you know, there's been a couple of things that I've had to talk to people about. Hey, you know, we had a contract aide that wore socks that have pot plants on them. It was like,
Yeah, not
okay,
a professional.
fix your head.
Not appropriate. That's
Right.
right. Kids.
Or, you know, I have a midriff shirt. Yeah, that's against our school rules, you know, like, you know, you gotta really pay attention to what the dress code is. At least dress by dress code for the kids.
Right. Like, are your shorts down to your to your knees?
Right.
Would you be able to share an experience where you were faced with a conflict related to the failure of the implementation of an IEP, like the services or accommodations?
No.
Not experienced at all.
No. The
That's
only
good.
thing we had was we had a contract worker last year that we were finding mistakes and things that needed to be remedied. And I think the majority was in your class.
Oh,
That needed to be fixed because she had written things into the IEP that were like, we don't say that or we don't do that. And I think for the most part, there were enough people with eyes on. But I think Larissa had said that you guys are still kind of finding little things here and
later.
there.
Yeah, now.
Yeah. I think that's really the only thing where I was like, oh.
But you never had a conflict like with a parent who was like, "What the world is going on?" Right?
Yeah. What's going on with this?
Yeah.
Orion's dad is probably the closest we've come.
Yeah, but his was not because we weren't implementing his IEP, right? It was just because he wanted to add stuff to it, right? Or change it up a little bit.
And I think we had dropped the ball a little bit on getting things signed. He had been promised a
Because he was
list.
coming from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think things kind of had gotten
Lost.
delayed.
Yeah.
outside circumstances.
Yeah.
Definitely, probably the closest we've come, which I'm going to continue to knock on wood. I don't need to tempt fate.
Right. Oh, experiences with difficult or unreasonable parents.
Or read crazy. Where you're like, no, we're not going to do that. Yeah, we've had to say that a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not within the purview of our scope. I think I just got asked last week, would we write a letter on behalf of the mom who's in a custody battle with dad? No, we don't get involved in custody battles.
Mm-hmm.
You are welcome to take the IEP that states these things.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't.
But other than that, right, you're neutral.
Yeah, because I'm not here for you to figure out who's going to have the kids. I'm here to make sure your kid learns something. That's kind of a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, difficult parents or unreasonable parents.
Well, what's your advice with dealing with difficult or unreasonable parents? Like, I haven't had any real experience with it.
Right.
What would you suggest? Like, first things first.
Right.
Off
I
top.
think more than anything is just hearing them out. Because for the most part, most people just want to be heard. They want you to be able to hear, hey, this is what I'm concerned about, and then come back and say, okay, I understand your concerns. This is what I can do. This is what we can accommodate for that. These are the pieces. Yeah, we'll have to figure that out, or let me think, or give them a chance to at least get everything out. So I think that's probably the biggest one is when you're interrupting or making excuses.
Just makes them upset.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But we can't. Just hear them out.
Yeah, and try and not to commit to something that you actually can't do. Right?
Gosh, I'm a parent too. I wouldn't be upset. I mean, just validating feelings. Like sometimes you think they're being unreasonable, but all they just want you to know is, I'm upset. There wasn't anything you can do about it, but I was mad.
Right. I just need to tell somebody.
I just need somebody to hear
the
it.
one.
Because I think that was when people ask me, well, they're my first year. What do you think? And I'm like, I'm shocked at the number of people that want to yell at me. Like, I can't really think of a time when I needed to be yelled at like that, but yeah, I think it's just that they wanted to be heard.
Right. And would you be able to, procedural errors such as attendance of required members of the IEP. Have you had any issues with people not showing up for IEPs?
Parents.
Besides parents?
Besides parents?
Yeah, on the team.
No, everybody usually is pretty good. I think probably since the invent of Google Calendar, it's on your calendar, you'll be there.
Right. That's good. None of the teachers are not.
Because before that, we had a big IEP calendar that was in the copy room at North Country, and it was on the big calendar. It was a giant calendar that
you had to go
the whole
look to
year,
make sure.
and you had to make sure, and it listed all the people that need to be in the meeting, and it was that was a hot mess. Now it's all electronic.
Right.
You don't have to deal with that whole. Okay, everybody's here.
Right. Are you here?
Paper.
Are you here?
A lot more paper.
And what about parents not participating? Have you had any experience?
Not participating, or just not showing up. Or feeling like.
Or not even showing. That's not participating. They don't even show up for the IEP.
And there's been a couple. That's been.
Do you have to keep calling them? How does that?
Well, I know at some point you have to get some kind of communication going.
Right.
Can we hold this without you? You have to sign off. Yeah. I mean, there's been.
Have you had difficulty with any parent that's just no, I'm not coming and I ain't signing off?
Never had that.
Oh, I'm glad. Because that would be crazy. What do you do?
Right. What do I do? Because we have to,
Yeah. What would you recommend for a new special, say that situation happened where a parent was just I'm not coming, I don't have time, and I'm not signing off, so.
Right, and I'm not signing off.
Right.
Gosh, I think, you move toward talking with the district, getting the district involved, and then I think it would probably be a home visit. Like, okay, you can't come to us, we're going to come to you. You know,
Yeah.
we're going to figure out a way, one way or another, for your kiddo to get the services they need.
Right. Oh, that would be good because, like, oh, you can't come in, so we'll come to you then.
Right? Or, you know, can we get you on the phone? They will call and say, oh, I can't come, you know, I had something come up. And she'll say, gosh, we have our whole team here. Is there any way you can be on Zoom? Can you be on the phone? You know, when we have everyone together, it happens so infrequently.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
She's really good about encouraging them to come.
So just try to offer different ways.
Yeah, alternatives, because I get how it's difficult. You know, when my kid had his IEP, I took a whole day off because I was, you know, working.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's not always doable for everyone.
Right. Some people just don't have that option. Gotta get that money. What specific training in special education law do you have? None?
I mean, special education law,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's the years of experience, and then, you know, anything, when I cleared my credential way back in the day, and then just the little pieces that I get through the admin credentialing, which is pretty cursory. It's not really in depth. You know, lots of it comes from our program specialists and from director. That's why I said those meetings really are super informative.
No, sorry, Sarah Prince.
Because you can ask questions. You can, hey, this new law has come out. This is how we're going to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't realize that you guys don't get a lot of, but you're expected to be at the IEPs and you don't have all of the. Oh, that's different.
Yeah, and then so Mike does like probably an hour-long training every year for administrators. This is what you're expected to do. This is, you know, it's a little 2-sheeter of the stuff that he goes through with us. But I don't want to say it's like training.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess you could call it training. I suppose we would call it training, but not like I would think like a class. When you know,
Yeah.
What do you think? Because you guys have to know.
Yeah, we have a class. Like we have
Right.
to. Mm-hmm.
So I think more than anything, I fall back on our special ed, department to say, hey, this piece I understand. Can we tweak it this way? You know, or how
Right.
do we tweak it this way?
And I only got 2 more questions, and you'll be free. Yes,
Go get my
time. What attributes of a special education teacher are valuable to you?
Oh my gosh.
Like as a principal, who do you want around your kids?
Someone with a lot of patience. Because boy howdy, if you don't have any patience. And then secondly, like we talked about, the ability to deal with other adults.
Yeah, I don't use that one.
I mean, what, you have 9 kids in your class and 6 aides? I mean, that's almost just as many.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like,
right.
So it seems like, you know, the dealing with the kids and dealing with just having that ability to create a team, the ability to understand what a child needs and to be able to describe it and explain it to someone and another adult in the room.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough.
It is sometimes, yeah. And even supporting them, like.
Especially aides that are, and we tend to get, are really young, or they don't have kids of their own, or they've never been around kids with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes that's hard because you're trying to teach them, this child is incapable of what you're saying right now. Like, I know that you want to go all like, well, this is how I was raised and we should be doing this. And okay, that child would do it if they could. They can't.
Yeah.
You have to understand their...
I find it more with our older aides that are just like
that old school.
old
thought.
school, yeah, that old school. And it's like, I understand where you're coming from. I was raised old school, but that's not going to work with them because they're not going to do it.
They're not. They're not, like, especially now. And you keep thinking, gosh, you know, how has it changed? It's changed. You know, I always said when when I got to the point where I said, "Oh, kids have changed," I'm like, then I know I'm too old for this. But it really, they have. I'm not kidding.
Don't be too old yet.
Right? But I just think, when I was first teaching, and I was around veterans, and they were, oh, kids have changed. And like, oh God, when I get to that point, I just need to hang it up. And now I'm like, oh, well, they didn't have a pandemic, I'm just gonna say.
Right.
Because I do think that changed a lot.
Yeah.
A lot for kids.
Yeah. I agree.
And adults. So.
And my very last question, what advice do you have for me coming into being a special ed teacher?
I don't know, just about everything's out there, yeah?
Yeah.
Listen to people, have some patience, take everything with grace.
What about professionally?
Professionally, keep up on your craft. 'Cause that, keep up on the PD, keep up on the newest, latest, greatest kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
As with everything, it's ever evolving.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think too, which I think it can happen that you fall out of touch with, what's happening in Gen Ed.
Mm.
These are the expectations we've set for general education students. How close or how far off are we with special education? Because you do have to say your goal is written based on this grade level.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things is keeping up on what they're doing too, because they're constantly evolving. The science of reading is so huge right now.
Yeah.
For you to understand that too
And probably even making those connections, like, right? So when I have kids that I can, and I feel like need to be supported, I have that support of that teacher, like, oh, it won't be so hard to be like, hey, can you take one of my kids?
right.
And they're like,
And then also,
no.
Yeah, I was in your room, I saw this, and I think my kid would fit really well in your classroom.
Yeah.
Having those relationships too, but just keeping up on what they're doing, because it is, or because they'll come and ask you too, lots of questions. Hey, I have this kid, this is what's going on, can you help me? And they'll seek your advice because your knowledge base is bigger than theirs when it comes to accommodations, modifications, those kinds of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Well, that was it. I appreciate it. Thank you. I got a lot of good information. What I didn't type, I'll go back and watch.
I know, you're like,
Appreciate you again.